Hey, have you ever wanted to make a colony filled with a bunch of psychopaths? Wearing clothing made out of other humans' skin, and worshipping their own gods in a temple filled with human flesh? Well, that's what I'm doing today, so why don't you join me? The thing is, we could kind of make a hotel and then just like murder our guests. But the thing is, we are playing on the hardest difficulty, so we kind of do need allies in case we get attacked by mechs and things. Because we are also a tribe, so getting tech is not going to be the fastest. I did have some ideas, but nothing concrete. So I decided to worry about that later, and for now I would organize what our people would be doing. And after setting up our initial priorities, after doing a little bit of deforestation, we also constructed the first walls of our base. Here's a huge square that would contain everything for now until we're a little bit more established. As future planning and settling down progressed, I made Hyena be our cook. We then had our first wanderer ask to join, a medieval minstrel named Ellie. After checking her stats, she was pretty useless. So here is our first victim. We arrested her and put her into one of our newly built rooms, where she was for half a day until Nogumar came in and killed her. We then chopped her up and got a lot of human flesh and some human leather. Ooh, how much human meat is that? 65 plus 20. And so our cannibals would finally have their first taste of human flesh. Moving on. As our rooms get more fleshed out, we also built a research bench, where I quickly pondered upon what we should research, as we can't even make proper clothing or proper furniture. Ended up deciding to go with smithing, because we need a way to defend ourselves, and smithing unlocks a little bit of everything. Talking about defending ourselves, here comes our first raid. Ooh. Did someone say a raid? Now, something that came to mind while this raid was approaching is, why would you willingly walk into territory that you know are owned by cannibals? It seems kind of like suicide, but hey, I'm not going to judge. Free human flesh for us. Now, we do have a variety of weaponry, but nothing outstanding. And our colonists are not that good at fighting either, but our numbers will make us win. Having a mix of ranged and melee will help a lot. But sadly, Jackal didn't have any more arrows, and I didn't know that. He doesn't. That's what I thought. And so Jackal became our rodeo clown to bait the bull. Get her! Nice. Get him! And it worked pretty well. I wouldn't even call this a raid, more like a charity where they donated themselves to the charity of us. Just some cannibals living in a forest. Now with all this flesh that we have gathered, we made our first cannibal platter, also called Dauabre's dish. Now this can be used for religious feasts, but is only available at specific times during the game. Now in celebrations of our cannibal platter, I decided to finally assign roles to our colonists. And so we made Nogumar our chosen chief, aka leader, giving him the ability to make speeches, give people a better work drive, boost people's combat ability, and resolve crime with a trial. Now I gotta be honest, if I walked into a forest and I saw a bunch of people gathered around and purple skulls were starting to float off the ground, I would leave, and also piss myself. Now, we also made Hyena our rector of eating, which gives her the ability to make sure people are believing in this cult and also boost their health. And after this, we also had our first leader speech, which was kind of ominous. Now I gotta say, that voice definitely does not fit the ominous vibe that is going on, but who am I to judge? I'm just a narrator. And we also built our first temple and outfitted it accordingly. And to simplify it, the better ideological buildings we put in a temple will make any speeches or any abilities better while inside it. Now we did also have a spare room, and I decided why not just have guests here, in case, we get hungry or just, to make money. Because it will pay for the beds, and I don't really mind. Now while we had these guests over, we also had a raid, and there was quite a lot of them. And so we set up our ranks, ready to defend ourselves. And luckily, they kind of came in waves. And we were able to take them down because of their small numbers. And just from the first wave alone, they decided to retreat. realizing that they had lost, and that their friends would now be eaten. Nice! Again, I don't understand why you would walk into cannibal territory willingly and hope for the best, because there's not really much to hope for. Now, evidently, from all the clothing and blood out there, we had quite a lot of human flesh, which is good, because it gives such a mood boost to our cannibals. And we can even make more cannibal platters if we choose to. Now we also got smithing done, which allows us to build better weaponry, better swords, and even shields and helmets if we want to. I decided to go straight for researching electricity, even though it's extremely steep, but having power is kind of important. Now right after, we put Hyena on the task to make some gladius swords and shields. After finishing just one sword and a shield, we got raided. And so we lured them into our base, waiting by the entrance, cause no way in the 7 layers of hell are we going to fight people with guns out there in the open. Again, why would you walk into cannibal-infested lands and then walk into their base? Like, what do you expect is gonna happen? And so they walked in one by one and got a sword to the gut and a spear to the ear. Thanks for visiting and donating your bodies. Now we also had a pretty strange visit right after this. A strange man named Thor, who has some black arco technology inside of him, which allows him to defy death. Now I didn't want to accept him in case he would betray us, which made him mad. And so Nogomar started to kill him. Again, and again, and again, and again. At least it gave us quite a few skulls, which we could make skull pikes out of, to decorate the outside of our base. Now while this happened, we also had a creature from the void attack, a side stealer, but he was quickly put down because of Nogomar's spear skills. He's almost like a Spartan. Now after killing Thorn, I don't know, like 6 times, he finally didn't revive himself anymore. And so we moved on, gaining from it. And we also started some farms where we would farm some potatoes, cloth, and camroot. We also had another person ask to join, Loans, and he was a defector, which in short just means that he is good in combat and also has a high chance to have good medical, and he had both, and so we accepted him in, of course. Now a few days later, after we accepted him in, we were able to make a few shields and some weapons, we got another raid. This time by other cultists, and these guys were trying to summon in creatures from the void to help the raid. And so we had to rush in to try and stop them before they would overtake this whole colony with the beasts I can't even imagine. Because I don't know. I actually don't know what they can summon, because I've never seen it before. Holy shit! Now they had really good weaponry. They had proper steel weapons, and we don't have body armor. And so Nogomar and Vulture were both critically hurt, and sadly Gray's head was smashed to pieces by the cult summoner. So we had suffered our first death. Holy! And so after this we healed up, we recuperated, and we also had a little bit of a party to, celebrate. Because for us cannibals, death isn't the end. Death is the start of new life, nutrition to keep it all going. Because no one will ever die in vain, as they will fuel the future efforts of this tribe. Now we also got electricity done. It took a little bit, but it's done. And so we went over to research batteries to make power that we would gain be more efficient. And so we built our first pair of windmills right next to our farms. And I also tried to hunt some boomalopes for their chemicals. It didn't go the best, I would say. Now while Hyena was outside having a mental break, she was being attacked by a grizzly bear, which is pretty bad. And so I tried to send all the colonists that I could to her rescue and just hope that she would survive until rescue arrives. Now the shield had luckily been able to protect Hyena from her attacks, but she was still critically injured and we had taken down the bear. Now we just have to hope that she would survive and she would be healed in time before she succumbs to her wounds. And so we left her in our room, hoping that she would recover without infection. Now batteries was quickly finished, and I had the wild idea to go straight for microelectronics to get futuristic type of things. Now the research is definitely pretty steep at 6,000, but I was hoping that we could do this, as the payoff is pretty huge. And of course, while I sent Nogomar and Loans out on a mission outside of our colony, we would get attacked by a raid. These guys had guns, and there were a lot of them. And so I equipped what we had and the helmets that we had made, and I started the preparations, because they wouldn't be attacking immediately, they would be waiting a little bit. And so I built some embrasures around our farms to have some cover to shoot out from, because we had gathered some weapons from previous raids. And we had bought a rocket launcher MLAW from a trader that we had earlier, and I was eager to test it. Now the rocket itself actually missed, but shrapnel from the rocket managed to hit one of the attackers and critically injured him. So, win-win. We had successfully defended the raid, but Vulture was critically injured. We sent our Dr. Hyena to the rescue. And with Vulture at death's door, he was luckily saved. That was clutch. Now, thanks to all these kind donations, we have quite a lot of human flesh and a lot of fine meals. And we're also racking up on quite a lot of human leather. Now with all this human leather and quite a lot of resources in general, I made Hyena start to make clothing. Coifs, pants, dresses, t-shirts, vests, whatever. So nice to see this. Human leather, human leather, human leather, human leather. Yeah! Now we also got everyone outfitted with human leather clothing, and I also got a research room going with some comfy chairs. Talking about comfort, comfort gets kinda interrupted when you have a raid incoming. And so we set up our defenses yet again, sending Vulture in with his now signature rocket launcher, hoping to get some damage done. Indeed, what a thrilling battle. Don't you fucking throw that bomb, man. Luckily, we actually were able to fend them off, and I was quite scared there. A lot of them had pipe bombs, and I was scared they were going to throw them since we were kind of bundled up. And our shields were quite clutch there, same with the rocket launcher. Now, a lot of our colonists were actually critically injured, Lones and Vulture being both of them, with Vulture's whole right arm being shot off from the shoulder joint. Now, after recovering from this battle, we also had a trader come in, and we were able to sell off so many things, a lot of weapons and apparel, which gave us quite a lot of silver. And we even got done with microelectronics, a tribe getting microelectronics never heard of. And since pemmican is kind of resource heavy to make, I decided to get air conditioning to unlock freezers. And I also made some high-tech research tables in our research room to make research even faster. And I started to make a new storage area, because we were both running out of space, and with microelectronics, we can start to trade with spaceships that are in orbit. And so I was building this storage room in the shape of the trade beacon that will be in the middle of it. We also got a comms console, which we can talk to other factions with, and we can also trade with these ships that I talked about. Progressing without stoppages? That doesn't exist in Rimworld. And this raid was huge, and so I decided to use our comms console, and I decided to hire some pirates. I don't know what this does, I've never done it before, so I tried it. And so we hired 4 lieutenants and a sergeant from the faction of mercenaries. And we sent them out to do the dirty work for us, because we are not losing any more people. And oh boy, they were geared. It was really fun to just walk around and shoot these raiders, I gotta be honest. After the raid was done, I cancelled the contract and the pirates could leave and go home. And I gotta say, we have come quite far. Our cannibals are quite established, and I would even dare to say that we are unstoppable. And so, this video ends here, sadly. I know. But thank you so much for choosing to spend your time with me, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, press a like and subscribe, and I'll see you another time.